Hello, guys. This is Diego Barona. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes. Just give it some time for people to join the video. Um, Today, we'll be talking about job validations and any other questions that you have about Convector. So feel free to put the questions in the comments or in the Discord chat, and we will be addressing them. So if you ever had a question about job validations, make sure to put that in the comments. And see you in a couple minutes. Okay, guys. Hello. This is Diego again, for Cebu. Today in the show, I want to cover a topic that haven't not been really discussed in the community already, and it's a really powerful tool that we have had in the Convector from the first day, which is JOP. JOP is a library to make validations on data in JavaScript. Uh, and our topic today will be mostly talking about job validations, what you can do with them, anything that you can actually validate is actually pretty extensive. Their API surface, they have kind of regex validations, date validations, things like that. Uh, we'll be talking a little bit about that. Another thing that I wanted to share with you guys is actually a new post that a member of our community just published today. Actually, just take a look. Uh, so Akoita from the Discord community just published this blog post today in Medium. Develop a Hyperledger Fabric application with Convector Suite. Uh, I read the article. It's actually pretty extensive, but it's really cool. It's really well detailed. Everything from Fabric that you need to know. For example, some concepts, ledgers, composer peers, orders, and anything you need to know also about Convector suite, the tools that we have for you to use. And he goes and start building a project. He details the controllers, the models. He details everything, every single step. And he covers about unit testing, uh, about mocking the unit testing, how you mock it to make it sure that your control logic is working as you expect. It touched topic about multiple controller queries to coach DB, uh, even about deployment and things like this. So be sure to check it out. I'll put the link to the post in the Discord in the Discord chat. You can go and check it out. Uh, yeah, actually, they just grab it. Actually, really good. So yeah, too much direction. We're gonna jump up into the job. A little bit of history when I first started writing the few lines of Convector. Uh, and well, you can read more about the history of how I wrote Convector in a post from the Appalachia Foundation. I will leave the link to the post in the video description. But at the very beginning of this journey, I was just trying to simplify the way that we at WordCivil write unit write the smart contracts for Appalachia Fabric. We had our code base in Golang, and we were trying to migrate from Golang to JavaScript. In the process to do so, I found that every single parameter passed to JavaScript was being sent as a string. It's actually an array of strings. That's what Fabric sends you. If you try to use the Fabric SDK directly, you will get functions, yeah, uh, but you will get up just an array of strings, and those all the parameters comes as an array of strings. So you either have to make the logic to parse this kind of array, which is by position. If you were expecting three arguments, this array will have all the three elements. They all will be strings. And so if you were expecting a number, a boolean, and an object as the parameters, you will have to parse them yourself. So at the time, I realized this was not very scalable, very convenient to start writing parsers over and over again and writing checks about the data that I was going to receive in the parameters was actually correct. So I started to look for a solution for this, and I found a library, a JavaScript library. It's actually pretty used. You can see the stars on GitHub. Actually, this used by who is using this library is actually a pretty big list. You can go actually to npm and look for Job, uh, and you will find out it's actually pretty active. Has a good amount of downloads on npm. So it's a well-supported community. The issues and the pull requests are pretty active, so there's nothing to be afraid with this library. So I picked it up and I implemented it to Convector to make all the validations that we needed to do in order to parse data from strings to the actual data that we wanted to. So this is the actual library that we end up using. I have some code base already set up here. Just a plain Convector project. It's a fresh Convector project, which is the project is just called Jup. You will see that we use Jup for validations on models. For example, we use Jup.string, and you can use, for example, Jup validations for the parameters as well. This example, no, but actually let me import Jup, import for everything as Jup. So if we needed to pass another argument here, that is a string, we just do Jup that string, and we expect text. of type string in TypeScript. So yeah, with this pretty much, you are able with Convector to validate data in the parameters field that you get for your controllers, as well as for the models. String here. Yeah, you can specify the job validations for your models and for your control parameters. And this is pretty convenient. One thing I have noticed though until this time is that we used to see examples with pretty simple or basic job validations. For example, this one, which is just a job string, and this will only validate that the parameter that was passed to this property was a string, but it won't do anything else besides this. You can use, for example, the require property from Convector to make sure this property is required, or things like that, or set a default. But you can do a plenty of other things with job, and this is the things I want to clarify in this video. Uh, so let's take a look. Well, first I'm going to check. I'll be checking the video. I only have one monitor today, so I'll be switching from the video. Yeah, no comments. All right. So jump. So this is the repo. GQSense /jump is how you find this in GitHub. Uh, you can go and check it out the source. I won't do it right now. I'm more concerned about the README. And the README describes pretty much all the APIs or all the methods that they have for you to use. And they do it pretty comprehensively. They detail every single operator they have with the usage, so how you will use it with examples and things like that. So yeah, let's pick it up. Uh, I'll start from mixed. I'm going to take a look at job lazy, but this is going to be almost at the end of the video. Um, it's pretty convenient, but I want to take that from last. So see what kind of things you can do. You can do, for example, this one-off. So if you take the one-off example, this is to decide if you want to validate one of your strings properties or one of your number properties or one of your actually mixed property. A mixed property can be a property of any kind. So a property of a string, number, boolean, whatever the property you need to, you can assign you can apply the one-off validator. So let's take a look at this. So it says one-off, and I pass an array of values, and I pass a custom meshes if I want to do so, or when this validation doesn't pass, and I want to throw a custom error with a custom message. Uh, I won't do it right now. You can do it. But the thing that I'm more concerned or more paying more attention is the array of values. So it says if I pass an array of values of Jimmy and 42, I can only assign to the schema either one of those two values. Otherwise, it will throw an error, for example, false. Uh, let's try that out with Convector. If I pass, for example, one of um, this can be either, okay, let me close this. This can be either value A, or it can be either, oh, sorry, it's on the right actually. Value A, or it can be either value B. All right, so I have unit test here in place. This is going to check for this. Actually, let me remove this extra parameter I pass in here. Right, and I will be passing this test value, and it should fail because I just say that I can pass value A or value B, and I'm about to pass the value test. So if I go to the package JSON, I run the test command, just run it in here, you can run test. it's compiling and everything. Actually, let me just remove this compilation. I don't need it right now. It's going to take us some time. And you will see it failed. And what is the measures of the failure? Validation error for field item with val test. This must be one of the following values, value A or value B. As I told you, you can provide a customer message. So let's try it out. Not the value, only value A or value B. Let's try it out. See, says not a valid value, only value A or value B. So it works. So in case if you want to make sure that you get a customer message on your Convector controllers or on your Convector models, when they're validated, you can provide a message for the error message here. It's really convenient. But okay, so I can define a set of values in here that I want it to accept. One really convenient thing that I have found doing this is having a num of values. So you have a num, export, num, item values, and I write item A, or let's say A, just only. And I say something to this item A, and B, item B. And I want to, I want this property to be of type item values, so it will be one of those values. The problem here is if I do ever this like in this shape, whenever I update this and one of these unknown values, I'll have to come here and update the values here, and this is not scalable, as you know. And this is prone to errors and things like that. So one thing I can do is, since this is plain JavaScript, I can do. So I want to take you a closer look at how this enum is compiled in JavaScript first. So let's go to TypeScript. TypeScript play. This is pretty convenient. If you go to the TypeScript homepage, there will be a link here, a playground, and it will show you something like this, where you can paste TypeScript code and see how it will compile while it's in JavaScript. And as you can see, it first defines that item values is going to be equal to an object, and after that, it will be assigned the key A to that object with the value item A, and assign the key B to that object and the value item B for that. So with this in mind, I can do something like, okay, get me all the keys, object.keys of item values. And this is going to return me an array of A and B. But I don't want the actual key. I want the actual value of this. So I will just write a map, and convert this key to the actual value. So the value is shape. So this will give me an array of all the values in this enum. And let's try it out. If I go to JetSpec and I try to import these item values enum, and I pass item values that A, it should pass this actually. Let's try it out. Oops, looks like it failed. Let's see what happens. Invalid argument passing controller. Let me see what I pass. Model sample. Jib item is item A. This argument doesn't seem to be passing the job validation. Let's see what went wrong. I got it here correctly. And job data string, one off, object keys. Everything seems to be right. This is weird. Okay, let's see. Let's see what's going on. Add map. Let's make a console log of this, just to make sure it's right. Let's see, there's no questions in the chat. No. Okay. So I got correctly item A and item B. So this is working fine. Digital plantation, one off, and I'm passing an array. Everything seems to be right. I bet this is not a problem. Problem is, what if I put item A? In the test, I have item A. And I got to change this in here to be string. It's a problem created with your validation. It's weird. It's not taking it like correctly. Item. Item is equal to item A. And item is equal to item A. Yeah, it seems right. What if I pass something else? Just item. Of the following types. Yeah, of the following values. Yeah, this is correct. So what seems to be the problem? This must be something I'm not seeing. I'm passing the D. Get that string. One of item.a string. Hmm. All right. I will review this after the show. Something weird going on here. The same thing as you can. I'm pretty sure this works because I have used it in the past. Actually, I have some code examples with this working. There must be something I'm not seeing right now that is not passing validation. I thought it's pretty well. But the same thing as you can use one off, you can use not one off, which is just the same logic, but you get it like all the item values that you pass this array, they won't be allowed to be passed. So this is useful for cases when you have like a forbidden value for a certain property, like you want to set all the values, but not uh, any protected keyword that you were not expecting or that you have problems or processing in your contract and things like that. You can do so by calling not one off. Uh, Another useful property is like people have asked me like when to use a validation that is conditional. Like I want to apply job validation of a string is certain condition is met. So for those cases, you can use the mixed that when property. This method is going to be uh, pretty useful when you have like a condition. Have the condition in here. You can pass either a static boolean with true or false, or you can pass a function that evaluates either true or false, and then take some validations. Otherwise, take some other validation. Uh, this is pretty convenient actually. Let's try it out. I'm sorry, but this has not been working. Wondering why. String. I think I have to apply this. Okay. String and when, and now I'll apply the validation here, which is okay. So is string, and I'll pass an object. Speak. Speak is boolean. Validate value. But you don't want to pass string. You see how to apply this one? You apply is big. You apply the number of the property, is strings or array of strings. Adjust the schema based on a sibling or sibling children fields. All right, so yeah, I want to apply this when a certain value is present, like is string boolean, and I want to pass here boolean, right? And I will make a logic of if this property is true or not. Sounds like it works, right? You can provide an object literal when the key is the value of a matching function. Then provides the true schema and otherwise the fitted function. It's true. Yeah. So when the is a string property is true, I'll apply check that string, and otherwise I'll apply job.number. And at the end, this data will be either a string or a number. Right? And let's try that. Let's make a test. So I'll pass in here is a string to true, and it should validate the item as a string. I run npm run test. Well, when you cannot concat schemas of different types of string and number. So for some reason everything is failing for me right now. Error failed item with val item cannot concat schemas of different type string and number. Okay, I got to put it like mix it. Okay. I put it like mixed. And if I would another message, invalid argument passing controller. What is going on today? The argument doesn't seem to pass integer validation. This is such a good error. Okay, let's do something. Let's change this out for validations in the controller. I suspect I'm doing something really obvious that I'm not seeing right now. And this, I won't do anything else other than receiving the model that I'm planning here. What happens with other object? Okay, this is special. More than one dependent keys, in which case each value will be spread as an argument. So validate speed is special count. Okay, so if I pass two validation here, I actually need to pass another value for here. And it won't allow me to do that. That makes the job validation. Validation is equal to a job.object. And the shape will be use a string, job.boolean, and this is going to be for value. So it will be a job mix, and when is a string, just this one, it's true, it will apply a string, otherwise it will be applying a value. Let's see, if I put validation in here and value, type any, this is going to be a complex type. Happens if I run npm run test. Controller implication, embodied argument passing controller ID, and the type is correct, and it's a string. Oh, I forgot to play the test. Yeah. I need to pass. Need to pass this into the job crate. I won't be using the job. I won't use this, and actually I'm not going to be using this. Just need to run the test. Embodied argument passing controller. This string is true, and item is true. This argument doesn't seem to be passing to validation. Validation error for field item with val item. This must be one of the following values, value A or value B. Oh, I think I know what's going on here. I just figured it out. So I removed the compilation in here, but it's not compiling the controllers, either the models, and that's the problem that we are facing right now. All right, let's remove all this. And we're good to go here. We're good to go in here. And we're good to go in here. Item A. Okay. Yeah. And there you go. Oh, fine. I was starting to worry. So the one property is used to evaluate on another property of the model. For example, here I have this as a string again, and when the value is true, just do something, and otherwise you do something else. What if you want to validate, but if you don't, but you don't want to rely on another property on your model? So I haven't tried this, but I think I can put like something here, everything, anything, and provide a function in here. This function is going to be called when other other schema max. Yeah, it won't work. Yeah, no, never mind. This won't work there again. But what I can do is test it out. The other thing that didn't work for me was a string, one off. It's going to be working now. One off. Um, object of keys and a map. We map the key to the actual value. And it will only allow item A and item B. This is not necessary right now. If I run the test, item A should be valid. Correct? If I put something else, like item, it should deny the transaction because it's not matching the chip validation right now. And there you go. Item must be the following item A or item B. So the same thing with not one off. Chip model and put not one off. And I run the test. And it won't allow me because I sent item A, and it strictly says that I cannot select one of those. If I run the test without this, it should deny me the transaction, or fail the test actually. There you go. Actually, pass the test, sorry. Yeah. Because I'm setting item, and item is not item A or item B. So some other useful validations that you want to apply. See, well, you can apply transforms actually. There's transforms validations that apply after they have validated. Add some transformations to the transform chain, transformations on central. Yeah. So okay, they run before the validation. So if you want to ever pass a value and transform that value before getting into the job validation, you can do so. For example, if you want um, to pass a transform, and it's going to take a function with the value, going to be passing a function value, original value. What is the original value? Yeah, this is mine. I'll just take care of the value here. So let's say I'm expecting a number, and yeah, and I want this number to be always more than 1,000, for example. So if value is lower than 1,000, I want to return value plus 1,000. Otherwise, I will be returning the value. And this will be useful for cases like when I need the value to be higher than a certain number. I'll pass 45 just to test. Actually, I won't get any output of this or any error because, okay, there you go. I do a cancel log when I'm saving to the chain code, and now I'm saving, since the number was lower than 1,000, I'm saving 1,045. If I send 1,001, uh, it won't update the value for that one, and that is fine. So yeah, use this one in conjunction, for example, because with numbers I haven't get to there yet. In numbers you can have validations like minimum and maximum, or less than or more than, or so you can do, for example, the minimum value for this one uh, will be 1,000. Uh, and if I try to send again 45, it was supposed to reject the transaction, but since I'm transforming it before the transformation occurs before all the other validations, it should pass the test still, even though I'm using the mean 1,000. See, I'm saving this one. If I remove this transformation of the data, it will reject the test, will fail the test because number is not minimum of 1,000. Yep, must be greater than or equal than 1,000. Same thing as you apply the minimum, and you can apply the maximum number. Uh, you can apply the less than and more than. The value would be less than max. Um, okay. You can pass the validations to check if a number is positive, if a number is negative, if it's an integer, or if it's a decimal. Transformation that queries value of 20 integer by stripping over 3. This is actually pretty useful. Let's try it out. Truncate. If I want to just store truncated values like integer values, number, and I pass a decimal one here. Let's see what happens. I'm expecting it to truncate it to just 45 instead of 45.45. And did so. Good. So this kind of utilities is the ones that you have on Jib, that you can just take useful of this. You can run numbers instead of writing your own math that round. You can just apply a round. Uh, this is not the same as truncate, since truncate will just remove the see what values we have floor, which is going to be the floor of this value. Sale, the top. Truncate is, I think this will give me the same result as truncate. And round will just round it up. If it's more than 5, it will run up to the next number. If it's less than 5, it will just round it down. So let's run the test. And since it's using 45, it will remain the 45. Actually, let's test this with 56. Make sure it works. And check the video. No comments. No. Right. And yeah, suspected you run it up to 46. Cool. It works. Same thing as you have validations for numbers, you have validations for strings. So you can require a string to be of a certain length. If you have, for example, a model that is accepting an ID number or an internal ID of a database or certain kind of billing number, something that has a certain length, like stipulated length, it cannot be more than that. You can apply this that length. Uh, or if you want to, uh, for example, using max to restrict if the user is not able to send more than a certain number of characters, you are more concerned about the storage type of the data you store in your contracts. You can use max to limitate these open fields, which are of open length. You can use regex as well. Let's use a match. This is a string, and I wanted to validate matches. And I want to pass a regex to validate a set any characters that are, let's see, I want to match for this kind of format. I want to match for the namespace, the type, io.orsibu.jap, and a number symbol and some ID number. I want to validate for this field because it's going to be a reference. This item, this string that I'm storing here, is going to be a reference, a pointer to another uh, convector model. I want to store what is the convector type and what is the convector model ID. So I will be passing like I need to have words more than once, uh, followed by a dot, and this is going to be repeated multiple times. So it can be just like that, and the dot part might be optional. And after this group has been completed, I will use a number symbol, and I will then accept just numbers. Yeah. So let's see, to expect. What happens first if I send something like this? Just like that. So numbers. And it failed, as expected. You see the error message, test must be of the following, right? And now let's try it out. Sending io.orsibu job 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get one test. And it accepted the transaction. Cool. And I got my item with my nice format. So yeah, you can do any kind of validations using the regex validations. It accepts all the validations, all the regex characters that JavaScript accepts. If you're not sure about which are those, you can go to the site F2. I use this a lot. It's a documentation site. Oh, no, it's not there. It's DevDocs. DevDocs.io. It's a documentation site, and you can come here, enable all the languages and all the frameworks that you want, uh, and type anything in here, and it will try you. It will give you all the documentations for that. I will type regex. Give me all the documentations that I have for regex in JavaScript. You see the icon is JS. So if you are not familiar about all the characters that are available for regex in JavaScript, you can come here and see what each of the characters will match up. And yeah. So what are operators we have for the string? We have email. So let's try that out. Email. So I want this value to be an email. And I send something like uh, first, the most easy one test. Should fail. Okay, it failed as expected. To be a valid email, but if I send test at test, will it consider this a valid email? We don't know. Uh, I mean, no, it didn't. Okay, what if I put a .com? Yeah, it worked. So yeah, you can use this kind of your validations. You can use a regex, for example, and match for any character or any kind of special email that you only support. Email validations with regex are pretty sensitive. They're based on a standard of what is commonly accepted for an email or not, but different hosts can accept different characters. Some others cannot accept certain kind of characters for emails. So if you adhere to the standard, which I think is the one that is using Juby here, use that email. Or if you not, just write the regex to match the kind of emails that you're expecting and use it with that match. What else you can do? You can do a URL, something that looks like an URL. You can trim messages, and this is pretty convenient. I send email, and this is the good thing. You can stack operators one after the other. So if I send trim in here, I can do and expect just emails and trim them. And trim it will put out all the spaces that I'm sending to the transaction that I mistakenly sending to the transaction. And this is good for me and good for the data. See? And you will see the item is test.test.com. Yeah, works as expected. You can transform the strings to lowercase or uppercase if you need to. So let's apply a lowercase transformation. Lowercase. And let's put test in here. Test down and try it out. Oh, shush. Looks like I'm running out of battery. Excuse me just for 1 second. Okay, sorry, I'm back. And yeah, as you can see, it converted everything to lowercase, and even though I have the domain in uppercase. So what other options we have? We have dating options. We can pass dates to job and validate that they are lower or greater than a certain date. If I put a date in here, and I said mean date will be new date. I want it to be 2019, 01, and then I come to the unit test, and I will be sending. Oh, let's update this. It's update now. So the new date, and I'm sending 2018, 01. It should fail. It should tell me that the date is not what it was expecting, and this field must be later than 2019, 01. So it was as expected. What if I send uh, 2019, 05, 06. And if I run the test, it should pass the test now. Yeah. And as you can see, dates are converted to strings at the end. When they are started, they're converted to strings. And this is the format, and it worked because it was later than the date specified. Another thing you can do is, well, same thing with the strings. You can have array of, and the array of will validate. Well, this is very common. I think you have seen this before. Um, array, and you pass off the data type that you want to validate. Here, that strings. This will validate. Yeah, you can pass an array of strings. So, let's update the model. An array of A and B and 1. Let's see what happens. We change this to as any, because if no TypeScript will comply, it's not an array of strings. But I want Jet complain about that. Oh, we passed the test. Ah, okay. This is because Job tried to convert the number to a string, and yeah, you can see this. If you pass anything to Job, it is said that it can converts, if it can, to the value that you were expecting. And since a number can be converted to a string, it will do so. Uh, I'm curious about what will happen if I pass Boolean here, an array of Boolean. If it will try to convert the strings and numbers to Booleans, or if it will fail. Let's figure it out. And it will fail, yeah, because it couldn't convert all the strings and numbers to Booleans. So it complains that the index 0, which is A, must be a Boolean type, but the final value was A. So another good thing you can do, for example, if you didn't know, is that you can pass models in here as well. Models per se, they have custom property that will instruct all the schema of that model. So if you pass a cube, that schema, it will expect you to send an array of job models. And job, I mean this class. So it will expect you to send an array of jobs. And let's see how can I test this one? I think I have to make it not required. And let's see. Bypass an ID, UID, and item be another array. Says, okay, yeah, it's complaint, so it cannot be undefined. Now pass just another one, ID, UID. And I have to say to JavaScript that this is optional. What it says, the if any is missing the following properties from type job. update, fetch history, blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah, I have to make new job in here, and this will be a new job as well. Alright, so I have this array which have this properties, and I have this other array which have this properties. So to make it more clear, so I have this job object, I have an array of items, and these are the items of this one. Is just one item, which is an ID with some items, and these items will only have the ID, won't have any job objects. Right. Now let's try it out. Cross the fingers, and let's see what it comes out. Yeah, it worked. And now what happens if I send something else? Like, I don't know, like number. Any. So TypeScript will complain. Yeah, it failed the test. Yeah, because it was expecting one. One must be an object, but it expected, but it got something totally different, which is a one. So it didn't work. Uh, we're almost running out of time. Let's see what we can make. You can make array that ensure. This is pretty good. To array that ensure will ensure that this array has at least one value on it. So if I try to say array of build that string, and it's a string here. It's not optional. It's required. I pass an empty array here. It is expected to throw an error because I didn't send. No, sorry. Ensure won't throw an error. Yeah. Ensure. I will read the documentations. Ensure that the value is an array by setting the default to and transform null and undefined. Yeah. So ensure will ensure that there is a value for this one. So if take out the difference, if I make a call with just test parameters, you will see it will include a default value with an empty array on it. Now fail it because job is required because of that, right? Pop, 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 pop. Yeah. Job validation is not complete because I'm not required. If I don't do, let's see, you'll see, I didn't put it. So the job validation is not required. You have that string. All right, I'll ensure. I'm sure I've been last one. Okay. Okay. So let's see. What happens if I send item as one? I'm sending a one, and it says ensure will make sure that it converts this value to an array with that item. Oops. And let's see. I have the item is empty. I think this is not working properly. Looks like because it's not sending me the right value. I we'll see. We'll see later what's going on with Azure. In compact, let's see what compact does. Remove false key values from an array, providing a reject function that's used to find the rejection. So you can sort off values out of the array if you want to, uh, by passing or by calling to the compact Um, let's see, it's almost, yeah, it's almost the time already. So for object, what do we have for object? We have shape, which is just to shape new objects. But for this, instead of using a shape, we use convector models to be able to do so. Um, see, chemicals transform all object keys to chemicals. Huh, this is pretty useful, I think. Object, and I pass chemicals. Let's see, put an any here. Um, I haven't tried this one yet, so let's see what happens. If I put um, some key, some value. It says it will transform the keys to chemicals. So let's see if that uh, actually correct. It transformed the keys to chemicals. Huh? This is pretty useful. I haven't seen this before. Uh, I think I found my favorite one now. Hi, Pulse. So let me check the comments. Okay, I have a question. What is the new way to write the validation schema of an object? The syntax job that object and shape seems to be deprecated. Okay, found this tube that schema. Okay, sorry, didn't see this before. All right, folks. So as always, thank you very much for joining the video. Please feel free to reach out on Discord if you have any other further questions about job or about Convector in general, and what we do and how to do things in Java. Here, you already read the documentation and you're not really sure how to apply certain validations. You can let us know. We can help you out. Uh, the reason about why we prefer doing validations with Java is because it's more like in a declarative way. If you do it in the controller to validate the data, uh, that is more prone to errors. You can test out the models protocol, the job validations protocol, rather than define it all in one place. And the controller doesn't necessarily needs to be knowledgeable about what kind of data a model can have or not. That is the reason why we have a model to format and validate and custodiate the data. The controller only needs to make sure uh, that the data or that the sender, which is sending this data, has the right permissions and things like this. It can check values for to make conditionals for other values to be set, things like that. But the controller should be taking care of the validations. That's why we use job validations in the models, and you can have all the expressions in there. And remember, you can use also the express validation, the job validations in the controller arguments to validate any other custom arguments that you want to do so. Uh, for the one in the video, for you, Buba, uh, if you ever need to create a Jupyter object, I would recommend actually to use a convector model. It's easier to share and to have all the other tools that you have inside a vector model, and instead of just writing your own job validations for objects. Unless this case is like pretty specific and you really need to use an object, but otherwise you can use a convector model all the time. So, all right, guys, it has been a pleasure to share all this with you guys, and I shall see you on 2 weeks. And thank you very much for joining.